Muy buenos dias. Good morning, friends of the Museum of South Texas History. Wherever you may be, through YouTube or through Facebook Live, we welcome you to the July 2023 edition of Museum Pláticas. My name is Francisco Guajardo. I am the Chief Executive Officer of the museum. Today we have a guest who is actually quite heroic by any kind of objective indicators, even subjective indicators that we may want to apply on this person. His name is Francisco Barrientes. He is a lifelong resident of Edinburgh and was a veteran of the Vietnam War. And so during the course of the Vietnam War, went through some injuries that were life-threatening, one of them in particular. And so today we're going to have a conversation with Sergeant Francisco Barrientes. So the name may ring a bell. To those of you who live in and around the Edinburgh area, there's a middle school named after Mr. Barrientes. Today's Plática, I think, is going to be both interesting and poignant, and I think very historic, because Mr. Barrientes really brings like the gravitas of life to what we're going to do today. So we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, I'm going to introduce everybody to Francisco Barrientes. Stay with us, please. Welcome back, friends. Francisco Guajardo here from the Museum of South Texas History, and I'm joined this morning by my tocayo.
Yes, sir.
Francisco Barrientes. Mr. Barrientes, how are you this morning?
Yes, sir.
Good. Mr. Barrientes, I suspect that there have been people through the years who have sat down with you to document your story, to do an oral history, that sort of thing.
Yes, sir.
I wonder if you can just share with me, through the years, all those interviews that have been done with you, how it is that you have viewed them and participated in them. What's been the experience like for you?
Well, even still, whenever I get interviewed, I still get emotional. After so many times, I've been interviewed by the Daily Review when it was in Edinburgh, the Daily Monitor in McAllen. I was also interviewed by the Diocese of Brownsville through their Catholic newspaper. And every time, it's the same. It just gets emotional by something that needs to be said, so that the young generation can understand what a veteran goes through. And I really appreciate all what they've done and appreciate what you're about to say and do.
Have you found that the interviews or sharing your story has helped you deal with your story?
In a way, yes, because I know there's a lot of young men and women that come back from the war and they don't want to share anything. They don't want to talk about it. And in my case, I always thought the only way these new generations want to know about the Vietnam War is from hearing it from somebody who was there. They can read it in the books, but it's not the same as hearing it from somebody. And over the years, all these interviews have helped me, and it's also helped a lot of people that read the stories.
Yeah, they say that, mental health specialists talk about talk therapy, story therapy, how one rehabilitates him or herself is by going inward and sharing the experiences.
And I think that's true because, well, since the first time I got wounded, or the second time, it was the one that was really life-threatening, I told myself, I'm survived for a reason. I don't think it's my life anymore. Now it belongs to the community out there. And I've been doing a lot of volunteer work since 1971 when I was officially retired from the Army. And I've talked to students all over Edinburgh, McAllen, Mercedes, parts of Guantanamo high schools. And I think that really has helped me accept what I've been through. I know a lot of people are still angry at the war. They're angry at the Vietnamese, and I don't know why. It was a war. We need to accept that, and believe me, if we accept that, we'll be better off ourselves.
I think I heard you say, Mr. Barrientes, that your story now belongs to the world.
Yes.
Like it's your story, but it's also the story of the world, the community, the public. Is that how you meant it?
That's what I meant.
Yes.
Because I can hide and keep everything to myself, and nobody will know what went on or what I'm going through. Even though I've been severely wounded, I don't think I've ever stopped to complain about it. The people that know me know that they always see me happy. I accepted it, and I believe the community, everybody out there, should know my story, because it's not only mine, it now belongs to everybody. Because I know for one thing, I can't eat or drink. A lot of times, we go to receptions, to anniversaries, to parties, and they keep offering me something to drink, and I keep saying no, restaurants. But I don't know why. So I think it's good for the community to know where I'm coming from, and that life is beautiful. No matter how bad you are, you just don't want to give it up. You want to continue living.
We're going to get to the why it is that you don't eat like other people do, because there is a pivotal moment in your life that just completely changed everything.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna get to that in a second, but let me understand, Mr. Barrientes, a little bit about you. You know, when you were born sometime in 1947, what day were you born in 47?
December the 5th, 1947.
Any idea what the circumstances around that day may have been?
Well, for one thing, I do remember my parents telling me, when I was born, I was kind of shrunken. I guess, I was in bad shape when I was born. And my mom, being a Catholic that we are, she made like a promesa that if I survive, she would name me after St. Francisco. I did survive for the first time, I guess. And that's why my name was called Francisco, because of the incident that happened when I was born.
Wow. So you had a difficult birth then.
According to my mom, my parents, I did.
Were you born at home?
Yes, I was born at home.
With a midwife?
Yes.
Do you know who the midwife was?
Right now, I don't remember her name. I know I've seen her in the certificate, but I can't remember the name.
Your mother's name was?
Fidencia.
Fidencia. What was her maiden name?
Pardo.
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 Hmm.
She's related to all the Pardos here in Edinburgh.
Yes, yes. Yeah, mi suegro también era Molina y Pardo y, yeah. I think. Your father, Jose?
Jose Barrientes. Actually, he was Barrientos. But what I heard was that his father abandoned them. He changed Barrientos to Barrientes. And that's how we all became Barrientes.
So he changed it as a way to separate himself from his father?
I guess that's what he meant. D-O-20.
Right. So did you get to know your grandfather?
I met my grandfather on my mom's side, not on my father's side.
And your parents, did they come from around here or did they come from?
No, my mother comes from Matehuala, San Luis Potosí, and my father from Doctor Arroyo, Nuevo León.
Okay. And so they would have come across like what, in the 20s or 30s, maybe during the revolution?
The 30s was all my family, where there's 10 of us in the family. And everybody was born here in Edinburgh.
But your parents were born in Matehuala and in Nuevo
Doctor
León.
Arroyo,
And Doctor Arroyo.
which is about 24 miles apart.
I see. Okay. What did your parents do for a living?
My mom was a housewife all her life. My father worked for the water district all his life also.
Is that the one that they call it Waterwek?
They were calling El Canalero.
Oh, El Canalero, okay. And where did your parents build their family and their life? What part of Edinburgh?
Edinburgh on East Cano, 1923 East Cano. Cano and 29th Street is where we live.
Okay.
And the house still standing.
How about that? Who lives there?
My sister.
Okay. When you were a child growing up there, did you grow up like around other kids in the neighborhood, around the church, around the school? What was your identity growing up?
When we were growing up, at that time, the families were big everywhere. And there was about, I would say anywhere from 10 to 20 kids at a time playing together on the playground there. And, well, we call it the playground, but it was our background, neighborhood, street. We were always playing there. So we grew up playing with imaginary weapons. We would get a stick, and there was a rifle for us, or a gun. or playing Cowboys and Indians, or just played football, baseball on the street. But it was just a neighborhood, since we were always together every day. Since we woke up, we would be hanging around with them during the summers, unless, of course, we were working, which was most of the time. I remember the truck driver that would take us to work would come and park on the street and just hung, and everybody would come up from every house and just jump in the truck.
Is this to go work in the fields?
To go work in the field.
That kind of troquero.
Yes.
A troquero. And so 10 people would pile on the truck?
10, maybe more. Just us, we were 5. The others were...
What kind of field work did you do when you were a kid growing up?
We did about everything. Tomatoes, onions, we did cotton, we did grapefruit, everything that was in season, we would work on it after school or on weekends.
So it seems to me that when you were a kid growing up, maybe at the age of like 10, 11, and you were out working in the fields, that you would have been working right next to braceros.
Sometimes we did, but most of the time, they had their own group, and as a matter of fact, where we lived, across the alley from us was what we might call barracks. Los braceros would come every summer, and they would stay there. We would go by and sit with them, talk to them, and they would always be singing at night. They would get out their guitar and just start singing.
Because it was mostly men.
Yes.
Yes. Huh. So as a kid, when did you start going to school? How old were you?
I was 6 years old when I started what we called back then beginners. If you didn't go to kinder, this was the Catholic school. It's Sacred Heart Catholic School in Edinburgh. If you didn't go to kinder, then you have to start what they call beginners. So I was 6 years old as beginners when I started. From there, if you went to kinder, they would jump into first grade. We had to do beginners and then go to first grade. So I was 7 years old by the time I left beginners.
Did all of your siblings go to Catholic school?
Yes, they all did.
How did your parents afford that?
Well, I think back then it wasn't that high. It was something like, if I'm not mistaken, if I can still remember correctly, it was something like $8-10 for the whole family.
Ah.
So,
okay.
But my father was very religious. So he would do anything to make sure we went to a Catholic school.
And were your teachers nuns?
We had nuns and we had regular teachers. Yes.
Uh-huh.
The nuns were in charge of the school.
You must have gotten a good education.
We did, and good discipline.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I read some of your letters, and just by reading your letters, there's plenty of evidence there that you were taught how to put a noun and a verb together in a complete sentence.
Yeah, all of them, when I was in 7th grade, we left to Washington State to work as migrants. When I got over there, because of my age, they moved me to 8th grade. And other than the rest of the questions, I was answering them myself. Because what they were showing me over there in 8th grade, I already learned in 7th grade over here. But when I finished over there in 8th grade, they promoted me to 9th grade. Which, when I came back, I didn't want to leave my friends. I wanted to repeat 8th grade with my friends. So when I got here, they knew me here already at Sacred Heart. So I went in to register for 8th grade, and I went to see my report card. I told them, I don't have one. I didn't want to go there because the report got said promoted to 9th grade. But I didn't want to leave my friends and go by myself. So I went back to 8th grade again.
Really?
And I stayed with my friends for high school.
But you did have the report card somewhere.
Yes, I had it, but I didn't want to show it to them. And today, my records there. I think back then, they weren't calling anybody. Right now, if you come to school and you have anything, they'll call.
It's in the system already.
Yes.
They would have to have called like Yakima Valley or somewhere.
Yeah, Prosper, Washington.
Wow.
In the Yakima Valley.
How about that? But, you know, I think that you speak to the, for kids who are that age, the importance of friends, the importance of relationships. That's really what gives you meaning in life when you're that age.
Well, when I talk to the students, I always tell them one thing. No matter how bad you have it, there's always somebody else that has it worse than you. So think of the positive thing. If you have 9 negative things that happen and 1 positive, concentrate on the positive, forget the negative. And that will always help you advance.
When you went to high school, the 9th grade at Edinburgh High School.
Yes, sir.
Yes. By that time, the high school was over on Freddy Gonzalez.
Right, South Junior High.
South Junior High, that's right. When you went to high school there, there's stuff that's happening in the world right around that time. Like the Gulf of Tonkin happens.
Right.
And, you know, it sort of triggers participation of the Americans in Vietnam, that sort of thing. What is your memory, Mr. Barrientes, around 1964, 1965, as you're coming into high school, whether you or others in the student body were having this awareness of the Cold War and what's happening in Southeast Asia?
Well, at that time, we were still, I would say, not really into the Vietnam War. The main thing at that time that we were really thinking about was the Beatles. They had just come to the States in '64, so we were really into the Beatles. And I remember the first thing I remember about the war was when they were getting ready to invade Cuba. The peace of Bay of Peace was really nothing happened after that. That's when we started hearing about that, and then the Vietnam War came into existence on the TV. So we would see it every day. And during the school years, we had a lot of young men that were being killed in Vietnam. So it was getting more. But I think for our generation, we were not of age yet to be drafted. So we weren't really putting that much attention to the war as much as trying to have a good time during our school years.
Right, right. So this is interesting because as the war is like fomenting and picking up, you're trying to be a kid.
Yes.
And yet every once in a while they'll read on the intercom at the high school that somebody had gotten killed.
Yes, sir.
You remember those moments when
Yes,
they
I
announced
do.
it? Like, was there one or a couple that you remember clearly?
That was horrible. That was horrible because I know we went, they would allow us time to go out to the funeral. And of course, we went because we knew most of them, like Freddy Gonzalez. I never met him personally, but I knew him because he played football. So I knew who he was. And Espinosa,
Victor?
Victor Espinosa, we used to call him Casper. Victor Espinosa and Homero Tijerina. So we went to the funeral. But as we were coming to senior year, man, we were thinking about, okay, it's our time. They're going to call us pretty soon. And sure enough.
And it hadn't slowed down, it had picked up?
It was picking up. Yes.
Wow.
It was getting a lot more casualties every day. And he was in the news all day, daily. So we were seeing what's going on.
Walter Cronkite was reporting every evening.
Yes, I remember.
And he was also reporting that protests on the streets across the country were protesting against the Vietnam War.
Well, protesting against us, the veterans.
Right.
Well, this is what I tell everybody. We were fighting Vietnam, but we were actually fighting two wars. The Vietnam War and the protesters. Because the protesters were protesting the war and they were calling us baby killers. They were spitting in our faces and we couldn't do anything. We were told, just keep on walking, don't. Some people would react. Most of us would try just to ignore them. Now, what they don't understand, which now they do, we didn't go in there because we wanted to go fight. We were there because we were asked for help to stop the spread of communism. So, as a soldier, you can only obey orders. So we were asked to go in, we went in. But when we came out, we never got to welcome home. The protesters were making sure of all that. And I understand I don't have anything against the protesters. They were doing what they believe in. But they have to understand that at the same time, us, the soldiers, were doing what we believed in. So.
Well, now in your case, Mr. Barrientes, you were drafted.
Yes, sir, I was drafted.
So you didn't even have a choice.
No. Well, actually, there were choices back then. You could go AWA. You could go to Mexico or go to Canada. But with our bringing, we were always told that the United States provided a lot for us, and we owe them a lot.
So your timeline is that, you shared that you remember when Freddy Gonzalez was killed. So Freddy Gonzalez was killed in February of '68, and you graduated from high school just a few months after.
Yes.
And when were you drafted?
I was drafted August the 5th, 1968.
68. And so, okay, so what did you do the summer after high school?
Once I graduated, I went to Dallas to work. I was working in Dallas as an air conditioning helper. I was making between $75 and $100 a week over there. And then I left, I had been drafted, so I just came back to join the service at $80 a month. $80 a month back then.
Wow.
It was $102 altogether, but after deductions of Social Security, insurance, and laundry and whatever else, our regular show was about $80 a month.
How about that? You got a dock and pay.
I was getting her, I was getting the service once a month. I was getting here once a week.
Who is the one who called you to tell you that you had gotten a letter?
I really don't remember if it was my mom or my sisters. I was in Dallas, and they told me that I had been drafted. So
they got the draft notice and they opened it, or
yes.
They opened it,
And
and then they called you, and so you had to come back because you had to report at a certain date.
I had to report to the McAllen local board. That's where we lived. And it was, when we reported to the local board, it was before hundreds of people. Because the hundreds of people were in San Antonio already. That's when we got our pledge to join the service. When I reported to McAllen, there was about 66 of us from the valley going to the service.
In '68. And there had already been waves and waves of kids from the valley.
Oh,
who had
yes,
gone out.
yes. Yes.
Wow. So, Mr. Barrientes, when we come back, because we're going to go on break here for about a minute or so, and when we come back, we're going to talk about your service.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
when you go in and then you're shipped off to Vietnam, because that would have happened probably before the end of '68, and then talk about the real momentous things that happened with you.
Yes, sir.
Okay? All right, so stay with us. We will come back with another segment with Mr. Francisco Barrientes, Sergeant Barrientes. Welcome back, friends, to Museum Pláticas. Francisco Guajardo here with my tocayo, Francisco Barrientes. Mr. Barrientes, we learned, you and I did, that we just did a 34-minute segment.
Already. I knew it that long.
It didn't say, I thought that we had talked for 12 or 13 minutes, but it was 34 minutes. So I appreciate the depth of your storytelling. You're a good storyteller, and you have a very sharp memory. So credit to you for having maintained all that through the years. Mr. Barrientes, talk to us about the fall of 1968. That must have been the time when you went through basic training.
Yes, I was living in August the 5th, 1968. From there, we were sent to Fort Bliss, El Paso. We were there for 8 weeks of training. And 1 week of what they call 0 week, processing and everything. After that, I was sent to Fort Hoyt, California for advanced infantry training. We were there for another 8 weeks. And around December the 14th, we were given leave of absence for 3 weeks. So we came home. And the thing I really remember about the protesters at that time, we were in the airport, getting ready, arriving to the airport, and there was a lot of protesters outside with signs, calling us names, spitting on us, and all that time we couldn't do anything. They told us, you're gonna meet people that are against the war, and they're gonna be calling your names, spitting on you. Just keep on walking. Don't engage them in any way. And that's when I first met the protesters. Because being from Texas, especially from the Rio Grande Valley, everybody is very patriotic. And everybody really respects the uniform. I remember one time when I came back from the service, there was a special dance every Monday night was called El Baile Grande. I don't know if you remember that. Back in the 60s, 70s, at the old convention civic center in McAllen. If we went in uniform, we didn't have to pay. We were going free. And of course, there was a lot of young men in uniform at the dance every Monday night. So the owner was, the dance was Palino Bernal. He had a lot of respect for the veterans. As a matter of fact, Jundo Bernal went to Vietnam to perform for the veterans.
So this is what I'm hearing from you, that when you were in other places, you faced protesters.
Yes.
When you were in the valley in uniform, you did not.
No. In the valley, they were always very respectful for the uniform.
So you were here for 3 weeks on leave.
Yes, sir.
And then at the end of that 3-week period, then you would have been shipped off to Vietnam.
Yes. I reported to Oakland, California on January the 6th. From there, they flew us to Vietnam from Travis Air Force Base in California. From there, we flew from California, we flew to Alaska. And of course, the first thing we know was the snow. We were not used to the snow. So we got up on the plane, we were at the airport. We were seeing through the big window where there was in their snowmobile over the snow. And we couldn't believe it. Especially us, I guess, the Mexicans from the valley, they had never seen snow. From there, they flew us to Japan, where we were over there for another maybe 6 hours. While they filled the plane, and we were out there. They fed us. And then we got on the plane and flew to Vietnam. We arrived in Vietnam January the 12th, 1969.
By this time, Mr. Barrientes, how much had you studied, reflected on, researched what this thing was, the Vietnam War? How informed were you at that point?
Well, during the training, they taught us everything about Vietnam. But I guess we were young. We thought we were going to live forever. So we never really gave much input into the Vietnam War, where we were actually going. I know my family did, because they want to see their son, brother, live, not knowing if he was going to be back. So I guess, really, I never thought about going to war until we got there. And we got up in the plane, and all we could hear was bombings all around us, fire, rifles going off, explosions. That's when we knew we were at a war.
Wow. Did your parents know English?
My father understood it. He would talk about it. He would roll a little bit. My mom, she would understand that, but she couldn't speak English.
Okay. So the news that they were getting, they could at least consume it.
Yes.
And they could make sense of it.
Yes, they knew where I was going. So,
They knew. Yeah.
but as I said, my mom, I gave her a promesa that if I come back, she would take me to Real del 14 in Mexico. That's where they're shrine of St. Francis of Assisi. So,
Wow. So when would she have taken you then? She would have taken you because there's a story of you, right? That I mean, you were in San Antonio and in a base for years recovering.
Yes.
So your mother would not have taken you in 71, 72, 73.
77 when.
She had to wait.
In 1977.
Wow.
And we did it.
Muy cumplida, ¿verdad?
See? But I think most of us, because she wanted to go over there. So she would find excuses to promote the audience so she could go visit her family.
That's a good one. So you used to talk about it like that?
Oh, yeah,
Ma, usted nomás quiere excusas. Yeah. That's good. Well, she can dream like that.
Yeah.
That's good. So, okay, so then your family is well aware of what's going on. You're shipped off to Vietnam. You really don't have a sense of the realness of it until you get there.
Yes, sir.
And so where do you get? Do you go to like the demilitarized zone or where do you go?
Well, when I was in Bien Hoa, Vietnam, which is about 40 miles from Saigon, which is now Ho Chi Minh City, I was supposed, you're only there for about 3 days because they say make sure you have all your vaccinations up to date. And if you have American money, you have to change it for Vietnamese money. You cannot carry American money with you. And just a 3-day process. And then they ship you out. Well, I was in I guess I met some friends in the rear. So I just kept, every morning when they did roll call, I would say, here. And I would step out and just go with my friends and, just have a good time. A couple of beers here and there. And so it took me about 10 days to 14 days before they finally said, you've been here too long, you need to go out. So that's when they shipped me out around January the 28th. They shipped me out to the company where I was going to be with, which was Charlie Company, 2nd of the 7th, 1st Air Cavalry Division.
And so you were with Charlie Company between the last few days in January and then the time of your first injuries.
Yes.
So describe where you were when that grenade was thrown and almost killed you, right?
Yes, I was lucky. Well, the first time I was wounded was May the 5th, 1969. And this one day I'll never forget because that's when we celebrate Cinco de Mayo. So that was my I would say my anniversary for me also. I was carrying the M60 machine gun, and they always told us the first 2 people they tried to kill is whoever has an M60 because of all the firepower and the radio man, so he won't be able to communicate. Well, as we were there.
But so if you knew that, then you would have wanted to stay away from the M16.
Well, that's true, sir. Back in February the 17th, they wounded our gunner and the assistant gunner. Both of them were wounded at the same time. So once everything was clear, they came to me first because I was a new one. They figured he doesn't know any better. And they asked me, we need somebody to carry the M60, you want to do it? And I said no, because I knew the danger. I said no. So they kept asking everybody else in the squad, which was about 18 of us in the gun squad. And everybody said no, so they came back to me again. I said, well, I don't want it, but somebody has to take it, so I'll take it. But I did the second time. But once I got it, I got really comfortable with it, and I really enjoyed it. The danger, I figured, the danger would be everywhere, anywhere. It would be a booby trap, He could be a sniper, whatever. And
But you had a bigger target on you.
yes.
Everybody had a target on them, but everybody's target was like this. Yours was like this.
Yes. So when we were fighting, I made a peep. We were all spread out. And they threw the hand grenade right in front of me because I had an M60. But I guess it was a nighttime because we had a young lieutenant that had just come in. And I guess he had seen a lot of John Wayne movies. Because he got up and said, "Charge." Nobody got up. We were open. So when he got right in front of me, the grenade exploded. Most of the impact he received. I got hit in my right leg, and I got hit in my head, my steel pot. He just threw me back, and I had a concussion. From there, they took me to the hospital for 14 days. After 14 days,
Mr. Barrientes, was that, you got a Purple Heart for that?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm proud for that. After 14 days, I was sent back out to go with back to my unit.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Was 2 weeks enough?
Well, a lot of times, and this is true, a lot of times when you get wounded the first time, you try and tell them, you know what, I don't want to go back, I'm scared. And they'll find something for in the rear. But I was thinking, I wonder if it has an M60 machine gun. And if they don't know how to be responsible with it. So I told him, no, I'm ready. I was looking to go back to the front to help my buddies out.
Wow. No cualquiera.
Well, I guess I was thinking more of my friends and myself. Because I figured they need, and sure enough, when I got there, the machine gun was real rusty. They had me cleaning it, because I would clean it every day. At night, and in the morning we'd get up and just go over it and test it to make sure it was working fine. When I got there, because of the rain and everything, I could tell it was dirty. So I had to clean it again real good.
So you get back to your platoon for another 2-3 weeks.
Yes, sir.
And then June the 20th happens.
And June the 20th, we were in the rear. They told us we were going to have 3 days of R&R. All we had to do was full duty at night for 1 hour. Well, we were there only for about not even 24 hours. When they told us we had to move out, we weren't ready because, well, you know, we were out there in the boonies, everybody was drinking, including myself. So we weren't ready to take up right away, but we did. So I was up there, this was June the 6th. I was up there from June the 6th on patrol. On June the 20th.
Hey, hang on for a second, Mr. Barrientes. Help me understand how the mind and memory work. You remember June the 6th.
Yes, sir.
That's a searing day for you, like seared in your memory. Why?
For one reason, sir. I had been drinking as soon as we got there. They brought us cold beer, which was back then best brewery ribbon. And I'm sorry, it was Slits. The Pledge brewery ribbon, the cooks had it, and nice. Ours was hot. So as I drinking with everybody, I kept drinking all night with everybody inside. The next day, we were still drinking, the ones that stayed out. So I was really with a big hangover. And they tell us we have to leave. Now, me being the gunner, when we get in the chopper, I have to sit in the edge with my feet down, with my gun ready in case the door gunner jams. And then I have to open up on the ground. So this is what I remember because of the way I was. Hangover and all that, going up in the air.
Wow.
You know, just not myself. That's why I do remember. That was the last time I had a beer in my system.
Really?
June the 6th, 1969.
So lead us up to the 20th of June.
And June the 20th, we were told that we needed to go on patrol. And of course we have every company has two gunners. But they always chose me because they knew I never did drugs. Most of them did, which was understandable in the situation that we were in. But I figured, for me, the best thing for me was a prayer, not the drugs. And I'll tell you a story of that later on. And so they asked me if I wanted to go with them. They wanted me to go with them. I said, okay, I'll go. So we took out, and then we stopped because there was some bunkers in front of us. So I was there, kneeling down with a gun, pointing. I was just going the area, started from one side and went around. When I got to the center, there was a sniper waiting for me to give him my face. I saw him. As soon as I saw him, I just felt the impact when he hit me.
He shot you?
Yes. And I just heard people saying, Frank's been shot, Frank's been shot. I knew I had some more rounds in my rifle, in my 60 gun. And then everybody was hoping, so I just started firing. I don't know if I was hitting anything, but I was just, the way I was thinking was, if I fire, he's not going to get up and try and shoot again. Maybe the other people can kind of stay safe. And then I ran out of ammo. At that time, the medic came to me.
So when you got shot right in the face.
I got shot right to the face. The bullet in my nose. Usually, when they shoot at you, it shoots at your forehead. Cosine comes out. I don't know, they shot me right here. Now, if it would have gone straight out, I wouldn't be here today. I'm thinking that when it hit the bone, it changed direction. And instead of going straight, it went down. It ruined my left vocal cord and my esophagus. I don't have an esophagus. And I run my left vocal, I only have one vocal cord. And even then, when the bullet went down, when I was in the operating room, the doctors told me that the bullet stopped just a fraction of an inch before it hit the spine. If it would have hit the spine, I would have been paralyzed. So I was lucky all the way around.
The bullet went through your nose and then down.
Yes.
And they recovered the bullet, the doctors.
They did, they gave it to me. But for the next 4 days, 3-4 days, I had a high fever. My temperature would go up to 107, 108. So the only way to control my temperature was they would put me in a bathtub and pour buckets of ice over me. Only my head was sticking out. Everything was
the medic must have been on you almost immediately.
Yes, he was.
Because you must have been bleeding profusely.
I was bleeding. I couldn't talk. But I was still cringing that I knew what was going on. I rolled down on the ground, and I told the medic, his name is Mike Bodner, and I'll never forget him. And he knows it. I try to call him at least once a year, just to say thank you.
Where does he live?
Well, I think right now, I don't know if he lives in Fort Hood. Originally, he was from Boston. He moved to Arizona, to California. But I've been...
About your age?
Yeah.
75, 76?
Well, he's a lot younger. He's 73.
Okay.
2 years younger than me.
Because when this is happening, you're 21 or 22?
21.
21.
He was 19. A medic. They had just been to 8 weeks of training, and then they throw him into the field.
How did he deal with you?
When I wrote down on the ground...
You wrote?
Yeah, with my finger.
On the dirt?
Yes. Because I didn't have any paper.
What did you write?
I can't breathe. And then he said, well, they brought me some paper by then. So I wrote again. I can't breathe. And there was a funny part right there. I wrote it down on the paper. I can't breathe. And I showed it to him. So he gets it from me, and he's going to write me back an answer. And I get the paper from him. I say, hey.
You could hear.
I can hear. So,
Oh, my
they
God.
told me that when he was in training, they taught him how to make a trade. Right here, sell his car. He said, I've never done it before, and I'm afraid that if I do it, I might not do it right.
Right then and there.
Right there.
Right then and there.
And the jungle in the ground. Well, I told him, just do it. I've nothing to lose. Just hold me down. By that time, a lot of my friends were around me, and they were holding me down. Because a lot of times, when you get an injection, you jump. So I didn't want to jump in. So they were holding me down. The medic got a knife, got a hole here like an axe. He had a plastic tube and pushed it in.
And you're conscious.
I was conscious all the time.
What are you thinking? Are you like, does your whole life pass by you right then and there?
Okay, let me tell you. Some people say that I got over. Because I remember for a split second, I was able to see all my family, friends that had passed away. A river, a beautiful river, one goes to the water all the way down. Fish, birds, like paradise. And then I came back. Some people say that I probably crossed over, but it wasn't my time.
You came back.
Came back for whatever reason. So that when the medic made a hole, I could feel the air breathing. Right there and then I told myself, this is it, I made it. I just told myself, I made it. I'm not.
It was the air of life.
Yes.
Yeah, and all of this is within a couple minutes.
Couple of minutes. Yes, sir.
This is a 19-year-old kid.
Yes, saved my life.
Wow. And so you must have later in life, I mean, you stayed there for a while, right? And so you had conversations or at least listened to Mike talk about this or not?
He doesn't remember a lot
Really?
of things. Last time we had a reunion, I told him about it. And I told him about that. Because one thing was going on. This is our perimeter. We have 3 players all around it. When you come into the area, you have to yell, friendly's coming in. Because if you just come in, they're going to start shooting. Because they don't know what it is. So he was watching me in to get medical attention to call in a bird. A bird is a helicopter, we call it the bird. When we were coming, I stopped him, I got him from the shoulder. I said, stop. And I rolled down on the ground. Shout, friend is coming in. So I was conscious all the time. I knew what was going on. I never went into shock, which was really what helped me. So he started yelling, and then we went in. And even when I told him about that, he said, really? I don't remember that.
You may not have been in shock, but he probably was.
He probably was.
The responsibility in his hands.
Yes.
At the age of 19, you were like, you were out.
Yes.
I mean, conscious, but I mean, I'm trying to make sense of it. You know, how it is that, I mean, it could have been trauma.
Well, I think it is. Because when he was in Vietnam, he didn't drink, he didn't smoke, he didn't do anything. But when he came back, everything got up to him.
Mm.
He's doing a lot better now. He's really doing a lot better.
Wow.
But I always try and call him around Christmas just to say thank you. Because if he hadn't been there, because he was a medic, he had a head medic on top of him. When the head medic saw me, he just walked away. He didn't want to have anything to do with me. I figured he thought I want him to die and me. Now Mike stayed with me.
You saw this?
Oh yes, I saw it.
You saw it.
And I saw that head medic. The head medic traveled with the committee, with the CO. But
Where is Howard in this whole milieu?
Howard Henderson,
Yes.
he was my assistant gunner. I gave the gun and he carried the ammo. He was right next to me when I got shot. After that, he never saw me again until I met him. He started running to me, we ran to each other. Until we met in 2006,
Really?
I think it was.
almost 40 years or whatever it is.
Let me see, 80?
36 years.
90s? No. He was about in the early 90s.
Okay.
He came to Dallas. He called me, he was going to be in Dallas. So I took up to Dallas to see him. And we met up.
Wow.
We met up. And since then, we've been seeing each other a lot more.
Mr. Barrientes, I wonder if we can look at a letter that you wrote to Howard
Yes,
in
sir.
1973. So, Marcela, if you can pull up the letter. It's a terrific letter that you wrote, by the way. Just in terms of, it seems that you accepted things and it helped you get over things much more fast. So if you read the letter, so the letter reads, let me see, can I see it? Dice, Hi Howie. It's dated 1973. From an old friend who should have written long ago, but just didn't get around to it. Well, Howie, how have things been going on with you? How has the world treated you so far? I imagine you would like to know how I'm doing now. You probably hadn't heard from him.
No way.
And this is just, you're in San Antonio,
Right.
where you've been in bed for years, right?
Yes.
3-4 years. And then you say, I would like to tell you how I'm doing now. Well, I'm 100% disabled veteran, you said. Yeah, I'm still recovering from some of my wounds, but the worst is over. Or I think I have 2 to 4 more operations to go. You see, up till now, I haven't been able to eat through my mouth. So at this point, you had not consumed anything through your mouth for 4 years.
For 4 years, no, sir.
I've been eating through a tube in my stomach ever since June 20th, 1969. All I take is liquids. And I can't taste anything that I eat since I take everything through my stomach. When I go back to the hospital, they will build a new esophagus since the original one was damaged. No, don't think I'm still in the service. I've been retired since 1971. And then this next page. After what you just read, you'd think I'd be depressed or sore at life. No. In fact, I don't think there's anybody who appreciates life more than I do. Wow. ¿De dónde sale esa fuerza, Mr. Barrientes?
I guess my parents are praying. They always instill in us that we need to serve, help others, and just look at life for what it is, beautiful life.
That is an extraordinary letter.
Thank you. Our engine is one of my closest friends, along with Racy and Eddie. The three of us were always together. Racy and Eddie was also in the gun squad. And he would carry the gun once in a while for me. Especially when we had a med minute in the morning to fire all the weapons to make sure we're working. He always liked to do that. And I said, go ahead. So Racy and Eddie and Howard Anderson. Those are two of my closest friends that we keep in touch with each other. As a matter of fact, on June 20th, they called me just to say happy anniversary.
On June 20th. Wow. That's quite a story.
Let me tell you about what I was saying about I always depend on the prayer. As a Catholic, especially my father, but our parents always inspire us to say the rosary every night. When I got to Vietnam, of course we have Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, African Americans. We have Japanese, we have Indians from Indonesia. And you don't know if they're all Catholics or not. You don't want to invade their privacy. So when I got there the first night, I got my rosary and I said by myself, in front of everybody, to say the rosary. So everyone I say, join me. I figured, if they want to join me, they'll come. I started by myself. Before long, there was about 18 to 20 every night with me saying the rosary. And the rosary is a great tool for the Catholic faith. And I always believe in it. And I think that really helped us.
Was Howard one of them?
Howard would show up there.
Really?
Racy and Eddie, once in a while. But now, some of Racy and Eddie was from the Bronx, New York. Now he lives in North Carolina. Way back, he came back all the way to here to see me. He flew in Sunday morning and flew back out Sunday afternoon because he went to see how I was doing. And then at that time, he told my wife, and all this time, he saw me praying, he never knew what it meant for. He said, now I understand what he was doing.
How long were you in recovery?
Usually I was there for 2 straight years, from 69 to 71. In 71, they gave me a medical discharge because I was taking up a bed which would be used by other veterans who were coming in from Vietnam. So I was getting a medical discharge. I would go home, but for the next 5 years, from 71 to 76, I kept going back and forth for operations. Finally, in 76, I was told that there was nothing else I could do. The esophagus was never able to work. They never built a new one. They tried. So for the last 54 years, I've been eating through a tube in my stomach. And
You have not eaten solid food through your mouth.
no, not even water will go down. Nothing.
How many operations did you go through?
The last time I got there was over 40 operations. And I have a medical history there. I don't think I brought it. I'll bring it so we can stay here also. The whole medical history from the first time to...
What was your height and weight when you went into the military?
When I was in the service, my height was 5'8", 164 pounds. June the 20th, when I got hit, I went all the way down to 96 pounds. And then I started gaining weight, but I went all the way down to 96 pounds.
Wow. So, Mr. Barrientes, then a lot of things happened that are very significant for you after that. You went to pay up on La Promesa.
Yes. That time, actually, my mom and my grandfather both had promised me, and promised St. Francis that they would take me. And at that time, I would travel here to the States, to Dallas, to Houston, to San Antonio, to California. And my grandfather always asked, "Mijo, when are we going?" "Ay, grandpa, no puedo por el todo." I was just making excuses. And I had just come back from California. He said, "Pero si te puedes ir para California. You can go to California and back." I said, "Okay, I think I'll do it." I said, "Okay, ¿sabe qué? Vamos in December." And then, no, in July. It was in the fall. Next July, yeah, vamos. Because I had heard it was cold over there in the mountains. So, we went in July, the last week in June. And I was afraid, because I had always heard stories that the roads were all bad and this and that. I told my mom, "You know what, we'll go. If I see there's difficulty, we'll turn back." I liked it. That was the first time making 77. After that, I would go by myself with my kids 2 or 3 times a year.
Wow.
Because I liked Mexico.
June 20th, 1969, you got hit in the face. When did you regain your voice?
My voice? I lost my voice. And I regained my voice in about the last week in August, first week in September.
Of 69?
Of 69.
Uh-huh.
For about 6 weeks, I had no voice. And the doctors already tried everything. They even injected some Teflon into my level cord. It didn't work. So finally they said, "You know what? This is all. We can't do anything." I said, "Fine." And the reason I never complained was I was a young man, 18, 19, 20-year-old, with no legs, no arms, no sight. And I would look at them and I would tell myself, I can't complain. Look at that. Yeah, I'm able to walk around.
Wow.
So I can't complain. So one morning, I just woke up and I started talking. I was happy and I was glad.
You surprised yourself.
Yes. I ran to the desk, to the nurse's desk. And I thought, I can talk. They got excited, they called the doctors. The doctors came to see what was going on. They wouldn't figure what happened. But my voice came back. And I was glad because my mother was, she couldn't read or write, and it was hard for communication. But after that, it was.
Mr. Barrientes, we're going to begin to wind down here because, you know, we've been at this for 90 minutes already. Esther Villegas is giving you a nice shout out. You know, a lot of love from Esther, Susie Serna Palomo, a lot of love from Susie Yvette Barrientes, Mary Murillo, and other people are just sending their love to you. You are clearly a beloved person in this community. The Edinburgh School District in 2006 would name a school after you.
Yes, sir.
A middle school.
A middle school. And the thing is, middle school is an Alcule. Alcule was a community where all my family lived. So I stayed within the boundaries of my family.
Yeah.
So it was.
That's appropriate. That's appropriate. So when did you marry and who did you marry?
I met my wife back in 19. I didn't even know her when I was in Vietnam. I met her when I came back. Met her back in 1970. And we got married. Back in her name is Marta Galindo. And the very back, she told me they used to be a teacher at Edward Johnson High School.
Yes.
She's from Elsa.
Is that right?
And we got married back in 1972. We've been married for going on 51 years this September. We have 3 kids and 1 granddaughter. So.
Wow. Mr. Barrientes, lo felicito.
Gracias.
You know, una inspiración.
Thank you.
And thank you also for holding on to your documents like you did, your letters, the pictures. You know, you have preserved, you know, your story in tangible ways, you know, in photographs and those kinds of things. But what's most impressive to me is the sharpness of mind. You have such clarity and lucidity. It's very impressive. You clearly pay attention.
I try. Thank you, sir.
All right, so this is Sergeant Francisco Barrientes. Wow. So it's going to take me a little while to process all this because Mr. Barrientes just took us on a whirlwind here of emotions and, you know, this sort of chronology of being a soldier during the Vietnam War and I think the play-by-play with which he described both of his moments, you know, with life and death. So if you don't know about Francisco Barrientes, this interview is going to be put on Facebook Live, on Facebook and on YouTube, so that it becomes a document for the world already. You know, much like what you said, Mr. Barrientes, my story belongs to the world. So we're happy to play a little bit of a role in that, in documenting it so that people can hear your voice and listen to your stories. So this has been the July 2023 installment of Museum Pláticas. Before we leave, I wonder, Mr. Barrientes, if you have any last words.
Oh, I'd like to say thank you for, I guess, joining us with the program today. I'd like to tell everybody that no matter how bad you seem, you have it. There's always somebody else that has it worse than you. So just think of the positive things, and you'll be better off in life.
That's a good formula for life. Thank you, Mr. Barrientes.
Thank you, sir.
All right, and with that, we sign off. Thank you for joining us.